Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome to Martyn Lucas Investor. This is Ladies in Crypto, and I'm Casey. So I am going to take things a little bit differently today. So if you're here again, or if you're here again, welcome. If you're here for the first time, welcome. It's great to have you here. I am going to talk today about the top mistakes that people make when they start investing in crypto. So the first episode, we talked about behavioral issues, like our behavior and what we need to do to prepare before we even start investing. And then last week, we talked about the behavior of the money system. This week, we're going to go into mistakes. But first, I would love to see who's here in the chat. Let's see. I finally, for those of you who are back, I finally know how to share the chat now. So we are going to take a look here and just see who's tuning in and where you're all tuning in from. Okay, so let's see. Martyn sent you. I see a lot of Martyn sent me's. Thank you so much, Martyn. I appreciate it. 1970 Buckley. Hello. Good morning. Going back up. JJ 8-Ball. Hello. How are you? Poor Man to Richmond. Yolanda. I'm seeing a lot of familiar faces in here today. Thank you so much for joining me. Okay, and bear with me, guys. I was kind of down and out yesterday. I'm recovering from just being sick for a couple of days. And so we're going to get through this together, but I might mute here and there because I still have a cough. So it's good to see everyone, and we will get back to the chat in just a bit. Right now, I want to talk about the top crypto mistakes that people make. So the first one is using the wrong exchange. This is a really big one because people get very confused about different exchanges. There's a lot of problems that could happen with using the wrong exchange, but we'll just start with the fact that not every exchange might have the coin or the token that you want to purchase. Smaller exchanges don't always carry all of those, but the trade-off to that is bigger exchanges usually have higher fees because they have more customer support. So when you're looking at picking an exchange to trade on, you want to look at those fees. Oftentimes, the smaller exchanges will have lower fees. Sorry, is everyone hearing me okay? I'm seeing something in the chat here. I thought that I saw something about my volume. Okay, I'm just going to keep going on. So on the smaller exchanges, they may charge lower fees, and but you might not have the same security, and you might not have the same amount of coins available to you. You can check on places like CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko to see what if you have a coin that you're interested in or crypto that you're interested in. You can check on those two sites and see what exchanges that they're available on, and that's usually a good place to start looking for what exchanges you want to trade on. Okay, so those exchanges do charge different fees for things like deposits, trades, withdrawals, and they typically charge higher fees at those big exchanges, but they do have, like I know there's Robinhood, for example, has a gold program. Some of those are more expensive than others, but sometimes they're worth it to save on the fees that you're losing out on otherwise. Okay, so trading without a strategy. Okay, you've heard the story a million times. The crypto that you've been holding for months has been lagging. You then see another crypto that's starting to pump, and you sell when you sell off your lagging crypto, and you jump right into the one that's pumping. Um, you wait. When you do that, sorry, um, when you do that, you are jumping from one coin to another and you're losing out on holding. So it's really important to have a strategy for not only buying, but for selling your crypto. Because oftentimes this cycle just repeats itself where you'll sell something at the bottom because you panic sell it while you see something else is going up. And you'll jump into that other thing that's going up, but you think that it's going to go up forever, right? So you don't take your profits. And the problem with that is you're going to go through that same cycle because that everything that goes up comes back down, and you're going to go back down, and you're probably going to sell at the bottom to jump into the next coin that is trending. So, so I see this with a lot of people who are just starting out in crypto, and I did this myself in the beginning. I also did it last year. In 2025, I made this mistake in the beginning of the year because I saw something that I thought was a good opportunity and I didn't do my own research and I just jumped into it. And then I ended up selling it off at the bottom. Okay. So the next mistake is don't leave all of your crypto on one exchange. It opens the door to unnecessary risks and arguably goes against the ethos of crypto itself, which is decentralization. That's because when you hold crypto on an exchange, that exchange has full custody of your crypto. So essentially, when you have your crypto on an exchange, they're giving you an IOU. You technically don't own that crypto. Whether the market is hitting all-time highs or it's crashing with a black swan event, you might find yourself unable to access those funds when it matters the most. And it is really, really crazy how often those exchanges experience technical difficulties when there is some kind of pump or dump or black swan event. So that's exactly why there's a saying in crypto, not your keys, not your coins. But a lot of people keep their entire crypto holdings on an exchange for the sake of convenience. They value instant trading ability over ownership. Many investors shy away from setting up their own crypto wallets because they assume that it's going to be really, really difficult. But with the way that things have advanced in crypto, it's actually very easy to get started. Now, there's also, I do want to address something too. I know I've heard Martyn talk about the fact that your tax lots disappear. All of that data disappears when you transfer something to a wallet. And he's absolutely right. So this really comes down to how comfortable you are keeping things on exchanges. So what I do personally is I keep the majority of my crypto that I want to be trading in and out of on the exchanges, and I just don't move it because that gives me the flexibility, that short-term flexibility to move in and out of the markets. And for cryptocurrency that I've bought that I'm going to hold for the long term, for at least more than a month. Anything that I'm holding for more than a month, maybe I would say maybe 6 months for if your tolerance is a little lower than mine. But if you're going to be holding something long term and you want ownership over that, transfer it to a wallet, a hot wallet, a cold wallet, somewhere where you have ownership over that crypto. Okay, I'm going to take a break here for just a second, and we are going to go back to the chat and see how everybody is doing today, now that I think some more people have come in. Okay, let's go back up here. And I am so glad that I finally figured out how to get this onto the screen. Okay. Afternoon from the UK. That's Revved Up Biker. Hello, great to see you. Let's see. What are your thoughts on Ondo? I do hold a small amount of Ondo. Right now, I'm trying to stick to my long-term strategy and not do all of the mistakes that I'm explaining and will continue to explain to everyone here. I don't hold a lot of Ondo because when I saw this downturn coming back, well, actually right before we really had a huge pullback in October, I think it was October 10th, maybe, of 2025. Leading up to that, I saw all the indicators that things were kind of turning, and people were talking about how we didn't have that 4-year cycle that everyone was expecting. And so I did some research, and that is one of the tokens that, or one of the coins that I decided to rebalance my portfolio on. And I took that and I put it into higher market cap coins where I knew that I wanted to hold for the long term. Okay. Let's see. We still have Martyn sent me's. Panic, FOMO, in and out, the most expensive mistake. Absolutely, revved up biker. First time on your show. Let's see. I think that's Addie. I apologize if I don't have that right. Addie to you. And then Susan Swafford, hello, good morning. Great to see you on here. Steam 1080, or Steven 1081, Steven from Florida. Good to see you, Steven from Florida. I'm in Arizona, and I bet you have great weather in Florida, just like we do here. I think the rest of the country is getting hit right now by some pretty big storms coming in for the weekend. Okay, sounds fine to me. Thank you, thank you. I'm going to catch up on the chat here. Oh, thank you, poor man to rich man. I sound a lot better. I'm not feeling a whole lot better, but thank you. I know there is some crud going around. How much is my buy order? Okay. If you are a part of our Discord on Martyn Lucas Investor channel, Martyn shows or shares all of his buy orders for Electra members and above here on YouTube, and also in our Discord. So you can find that there, and if not, maybe reach out to Martyn during one of his live shows, and he will tell you how to access his orders. Okay. Here we go. Okay, I see messages from Martyn. Dan Ackerman, thank you, thank you. I love it when I see men in the chat, and this is your first time here, because I do think that the winning strategy for investing in crypto is going to be a combination strategy that benefits from women's long-term investing, as well as men's more decisive, their ability to be more decisive and take advantage of short-term wins. And in my opinion, that when you combine those two strategies, that's where real wealth is built. But we can't forget we have to add the education piece to that, because the more you know, right? Okay. Let's see, is that fake Dan Ackerman? I don't know. The best cold wallet. Okay. I don't, I personally use Treasure, and Tangem is really, really good. You really just have to, basically, when you're looking for cold wallets, what you want to do is make sure that they support whatever cryptocurrency you hold or that you're thinking about buying, and just research it. Go look at their site, look what other people are saying about it, read reviews. But I personally really like my Treasure Trezor, and I know Tangem is what a lot of people use. Okay, so Stu uses Coinbase Advanced. That's fantastic. Is Coinbase Advance about $20 a month from Jamie? It's $29.99 a month in the US. So I can tell you that from also personal experience. Okay, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, Lucas Aids. That is from Juan, and I apologize if I'm saying your name wrong. Tangus is very user-friendly, says Yolanda. And Delish, 3/4 of mine is on a wallet, a quarter on an exchange. Pretty smart. I have about, I would say I have about 50% of mine on a wallet that I just don't ever plan to touch. So I just pretend that that doesn't even exist now unless things go really crazy. That's my very long-term holdings. And the rest I do keep on a couple of different exchanges. Most of what I have is in Robinhood though. Okay, I'm going to come back to the chat in a minute. Let me just go down to the bottom here and see if there's anything urgent. Texas guns, first time here, and you're right, a lot of crud going on in crypto. There's a lot of crud going on everywhere right now. Okay, so where did we leave off? Okay, so we were talking about why you should diversify rather than leaving everything on exchanges, or you could diversify among different exchanges, maybe one or two. It's really hard to track when you have either a lot of crypto or a lot of places that you're trying to track it. So I wouldn't suggest being on every different exchange unless there's some major benefit or reward thing going on. But for the most part, I stick to 2 different exchanges. The reason that I do that personally is because if there was a freeze on either of those exchanges, if one went down for any reason, if some kind of event happened and it was pumping and I couldn't access my money, or my crypto, I could still sell on a different exchange. So that's just in case I've heard stories all the time. And again, I said, Martyn makes a really good case for keeping your crypto on places like Robinhood or other exchanges where you can trade in tax lots. So you lose all the data when you transfer to a cold wallet, and you don't recover that data when you transfer it back to an exchange for trading. There are a lot of wallet options available. So you just have to look at whether you would rather keep things secure and be much less vulnerable for hacks, or and that would be like things like a hot wallet. Like hot wallets are basically internet connected wallets, and they usually have a mobile app, and they are more susceptible to hacks. The cold wallet, you store your crypto offline, and this makes the crypto less accessible, but it also it keeps you from online threats, but it also makes it harder to trade, especially if your strategy is trading in those tax lots. Okay, so the next mistake is investing in crypto without doing your own research. I'm going to be talking about this a lot. I'm going to drill it into over and over. This is the most common mistake, and also the one that usually results in the most losses. When you make these kind of, when you don't do your own research, you are relying on somebody else's hype and somebody else's research. And most of the time, especially people posting on, X, or people posting videos on YouTube, a lot of times those influencers are being paid to shill a coin or a crypto. Pardon me, just a second. They're usually getting, thank you. They're usually getting kickbacks in some way, and crypto influencers are often, they're going to just tell you what they need to tell you to get paid, right? So usually their research is highly biased. And you never ever want to just like blindly judge a cryptocurrency on an influencer who's probably getting paid. And if they're not getting paid, they're just jumping on the same hype. So we're going to go on to the next mistake in a second, but I do want to say next week on the show, we are going to be really doing a live dig on how do you do your own research? Where do you look? Where do you even begin? How do you decide what coins to buy? How do you get even into all of this? How do you jump in with conviction and be confident about what you're buying? Okay. Oh, and I apologize. I have been on the chat this whole time. So, okay. So the next mistake is jumping in to whatever crypto is pumping. They call this aping in the crypto industry. That mentality is definitely part of our human nature. We see other people making a ton of money, and we want to jump in on the same bandwagon. So we blindly jump in, hoping to catch the highs. And then that almost never works. It pumps the crypto price, attracting more people in blindly, and then jumping in and thinking the price is going to keep increasing. Okay. The reality is that the initial pumps are usually connected to whale manipulation and institutional manipulation, and that isn't sustainable for the long term. So many of us try to rationalize this ape mentality by convincing ourselves, and I've definitely made this mistake, but we try and convince ourselves that investing in whatever narrative is behind the coin is what we're actually investing in. We believe in that narrative, and we also believe that the crypto is going to be able to keep pumping, or is going to keep pumping. And the reality check is that crypto usually pumps, and then the narrative starts around a coin. So chances are, if you're buying in because of a narrative, it's already on its pullback, or it's already on its way back down. So when you really hear the hype starting and the narrative is just getting stronger, that is usually when it's on the way up, and probably not the best time to buy. So to avoid this, stop asking what crypto is pumping and ask which could pump next. That's a question that you want to ask when you're doing your research, so that you're not FOMOing into a coin that you're just going to get into that cycle that we talked about earlier, where you panic sell low and you buy back in high on something else, and you just keep doing that same cycle. The best way to avoid getting caught up in all of that FOMO is to do your own research, but also to connect with people that are like-minded and who are looking to play the game in the same way as you. And so I personally think that this channel, a Martyn Lucas Investor channel, and the Lucasades community is the absolute best place to do that. And speaking of that, let's see. I would love to see how many likes we could get. If you're liking this show so far, this is how YouTube will share this with more people and get it out, and it is so appreciated. So let's see, we're doing pretty well. We've got 64. Let's see if we can get to 100 before the end of the show. Okay. And also, subscribe to the channel if you want this kind of community. The LucasAids community is the best community. I've got my LucasAids mug right now. I took Martyn's advice. I had a huge water bottle last time, and now I'm drinking out of my LucasAids mug. And you can get that on Martyn Lucas, the Martyn Lucas shop, which should be in the description of this show. Okay. We're going to go back to the chat again, just checking in with everyone and seeing how everyone's doing. Wrong one. Okay, sorry guys, give me just a second. I am not sure why it changed this. Nope. Technical difficulties. Here we go. I found it. I am learning this and I will get it. I promise. You're getting a little behind the scenes view here. So I know I said a couple of episodes ago, it felt like being in a spaceship. Not quite so bad as that anymore. But I am still learning. So thank you for bearing with me here. Okay, so we're back on the chat. Let's see, where did we leave off? We've got through these. Oh yeah, from Jamie. I did a trial. This is from Jamie. I did a trial of Coinbase, Coinbase One, then forgot to cancel for a month. Yeah, I know. That's the problem with doing the trials. So a good tip, not even about crypto, but any of the subscriptions that you have, the minute I ever do a trial, I go right into the calendar on my phone and I set a reminder for 2 days before the trial is about to end. And then I also set one for the day that it's going to end. But usually you're too late if you wait until the day that it's going to end. So I just go in and I make sure I cancel those subscriptions 2 days before. Those reminders on my phone. I use my reminders for everything, my calendar on my phone for everything. Poor Man to Richmond. Let's see, I felt when I started in November of 2025 that I was in a stock or crypto, and I would check it almost every day. When I saw it was the negative, I freaked out and pulled my money out. Exactly. Exactly. Actually, before we go on with the chat, we're going to go, let's see, let me go back to these mistakes because we are going to talk about that. That is one of the big mistakes. So the next mistake we're going to talk about is allocating too much capital into crypto. You sometimes hear stories of people selling their car or their house or like borrowing heavily just to go all in on crypto. This is never, ever a wise decision, especially if it sacrifices your quality of life. It's easy to forget that crypto is highly volatile, and it can be of high risk. I think that crypto is the future. I think it's very wise investment to make if you're getting into the right cryptocurrencies. I tend to stick with the top 3 to 5 coins. And not do too much dabbling in meme coins or lower market cap coins. But anyway, it is a highly volatile industry. And also on that note, I do want to mention that we have the Japan carry trade unwind happening this evening. And I believe, I do not know the time, but I believe that Sensei is covering that. So keep an eye out for that because this is causing so much fear in all markets, but especially crypto markets. So I for one am going to be there watching Sensei or Martyn, whoever is covering that. I believe it's Sensei today, and I'm going to be watching the markets. I think today is my eyes are going to be looking at my holdings often. I'm going to be looking at my wallets, my exchanges, but to go to the point that we were just talking about from the chat, looking at your wallet all the time, looking at your holdings all the time is very stressful. And if you're buying and selling with conviction, you don't need to do that all the time. We've all made that mistake, but you don't need to stress out all the time. Okay, so if you're constantly checking your wallet and panicking over a 5% drop, it's a clear sign you're probably overextended, and it's probably time to scale back your positions. It's also probably time to rebalance your portfolio. And actually, I just on that same note, one of the mistakes that I realized when I first got started that I was making was not only checking my wallet all the time, but looking at that overall number. I didn't know enough, and I bought into way too many coins at first. And I was looking at the overall number. And when the overall number in my account went up, I was really excited. I wasn't looking at the trading in and out on individual coins. I wasn't selling. So I have found that a huge mistake that people make is not selling. That's been the hardest thing for me to learn and the hardest thing to do. Okay. So there's also the mistake of not diversifying your crypto investments in the right way, which is what I also just talked about is, I did that in the beginning. I bought way too many coins. I couldn't keep track of them. I bought them without doing all the research in them. And most of them I was able to turn around and sell and get into a position that I wanted to get into when I learned. And a couple of them I did sell at a loss, and a couple of them I broke even on. But it was better for me to cut ties and reduce the overall amount because nobody can track that many coins. So not only do you struggle to keep up with every single project, but the rewards will be much smaller since there was less capital invested in each one. Okay. So the next mistake is setting unrealistic expectations. I think this is a lesson not just for crypto, but for life. We've all heard of that one person who becomes a millionaire overnight by buying some binky bonk meme coin. Well, this can happen, but the reality is that it probably won't. More often than not, you're going to be playing the long game, and there's a real danger in, I'm trying to say this carefully, so pardon me. There's a real danger in setting those unrealistic expectations. And the reason that I'm trying to say this carefully is because I don't want to scare people off. I don't want to scare people off from the crypto market. I absolutely believe that this market is going to be the future. I think everything is going to be on blockchain. So don't get scared. Just educate yourself. Surround yourself with people who are learning with you. Surround yourself by people who know more than you do about this. Don't surround yourself with people who are getting paid or making money, like we talked about earlier, on shilling coins. So whether you're just beginning or you've been in the game for a while, convincing yourself that you are exempt somehow from common mistakes is a huge mistake. None of us should be banking on life-changing gains in a single week or a month or even 6 months. Many people assume that if an influencer, let's say, promises you 100x on a coin, that those gains are guaranteed. That's not the truth. Like I said before, they're probably making money. So the reality is that discovering a crypto with that kind of potential is also becoming far less likely because there are so many coins and tokens on the market. Uh, with so many different options to invest in, the fact that we still don't have much clarity around crypto, and let's see, we don't have much clarity. There is a ton of competition. There is an absolute ton of competition now. And so when you get disciplined in your strategy, you can make your goals a reality much faster, but you have to get that discipline. Okay, the next mistake is being married to your bags. And what I mean by that is refusing to believe that your crypto may not be as successful as you originally thought. I think that there are a couple of coins that I was hoping would go higher faster, and I just jumped on that train of everybody telling me that they were going to. And when I stepped back, I realized I was way over allocated in certain cryptos, and I actually, rather than just not allocating, I started selling in tax lots like I learned from Martyn. I had never sold one XRP until I started learning about tax lots from Martyn. So then I started trading in and out, and my portfolio is getting balanced much faster than I thought it would. So, okay, let's see. Let me just check. I'm going to go back to the chat, and we're going to take a little pause here. Eric Oman, thank you. He said, great job. I really appreciate it. Love being here with you guys. Okay. And then Terry Rose, hello. It is the same as any consumer econ degree. You have to fight back and don't let anyone rip you off. My degree still helps me. That's great. Yeah, I would agree. My first job, speaking of degrees, my first job out of college was for a Fortune 500 company, a very large bank, and I worked in foreign exchange and was doing back office support for our Wall Street traders. And I worked with private clients and corporate clients, and the education that I got there still carries with me in everything that I do, from owning businesses. I have worked in politics and now in investing. So that education, nobody can ever take from you. So I love that. Okay. It's 44 here today. Wow. That sounds freezing to me. I've gotten spoiled for living in Arizona. I have Nano X, the mini, it looks like. That's Addie. 1970 Buckley. What are your thoughts on the Tangem ring? I do not have the Tangem ring, so I have heard good things about it, but I really don't have the knowledge to give you advice on it. It looks very interesting. I mean, you keep it on you all the time, right? So nobody can really take it from you. It's harder to lose. I don't know how much different it is. I haven't looked into it a whole lot, but I don't know how much different it is than the Tangem card that you can keep in your wallet, except maybe not as hard to lose. So, oh, Kevin. Okay, I will just call you Kevin. Thank you for that. I know exactly who you are now, Kevin. I've seen you in Martyn's shows. My chat changer ad, Tangem. Good morning from Georgia. I wonder how the weather is there. Is that GACA Jun boy? Let's see, Martyn, how's the hair? Oh, saw your first time on Martyn's show. You have lightened up the channel's beauty, but I miss Martyn. Oh, that's so sweet. Is that Ghostwriter? MOH Ghost MCH Ghostwriter. That's very sweet. And yes, I still watch a lot of Martyn shows because he gives the best information. Let's see. Okay, we're gonna go back here. I feel like this chat is just flying. And I just missed something. Casey needs to be on the new mugs. Thank you so much. We'll see about that. We'll see. We have to get Martyn to keep me around for a little bit longer. I mean, he still could fire me at any time. So as I'm trying to learn quickly, and hopefully he'll keep me around. And speaking of keeping me around, how about we see if we can get those likes up again? That would be super helpful. I have 87 likes now on this show. And if you're enjoying the content and you're here to learn with me, and you're here to watch me learn and get all of this tech squared away, then I'd love it if you would hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel, because we have 4 now. I'm the first female broadcaster talking about ladies of crypto, and we've got Martyn, who is fantastic, and Sensei and Vaz. You really don't want to miss any of their shows, because they all do such a wonderful job. It is definitely an A+++ team. I am very honored to be a part of it. Okay. Let's see. Yolanda, I have some in a cold wallet, and now since learning how to use tax lots on Robinhood, I keep what I buy on Robinhood. Good for you. And Robinhood is one of the safer places to keep it. I know, when you have bigger exchanges like that, when you have bigger companies like that, especially ones that are expanding as quickly and as innovatively as Robinhood, you do have a lot more protection than you have on a lot of these smaller exchanges or hot wallets connected to the internet. There's protection if something happens, if their company gets hacked, there's protection. So I'm all for that. Okay. I think you do pay quite a higher fee for transacting on the Tangem app, but I suppose it's all relative to the value of your trade. Yes, Jamie, you do usually pay much higher fees for trading, but you do not get charged fees for transferring your crypto onto a cold wallet, onto Tangem or any other cold wallet. There is rarely transfer fees there may be a small transfer fee, but there's rarely high fees transferring something to your crypto wallet, and almost never any fee of any kind to transfer it back from your wallet to an exchange to sell it. So if you're getting a better deal on an exchange rather than selling within your wallet, your cold wallet, then transfer it back to you pick one of your exchanges that you're set up on, and you can sell it there. Okay. Vocal Fasa, for people that are really new to wallets, hot wallets equals a checking account, cold wallets equals a savings account. Absolutely. That is true. Hot wallets are kind of like the money that you carry around in your purse, right? Like your change purse, or your purse for those ladies out there, or in your wallet that's on you. A little more susceptible to somebody to losing it, to somebody grabbing it from you, but it's generally safe in there. Your cold wallet is like a vault. It's very secure, and it's for longer term holdings. Okay. It is like your savings account. Oh, okay. Keep losing the chat here. Okay, I use Ledger for my long-term bag. I utilize both Uphold and Kraken. Uphold doesn't have some of the coins I want. Always good to have backups for both exchanges and wallets. Absolutely. Absolutely. I have used Uphold, I have used Kraken, I have used Robinhood, I have used Coinbase. I now tend to stick to two different exchanges, but I do still have those accounts for backups. Okay, with Tangem, you can sell on the app. We just talked about that. That's iSharona. um, I think I apologize. I'm butchering some of these names. Oops. Okay. Sorry, I just thought that I turned those notifications off, and I didn't. Okay, so we're gonna jump back in here. I know it's getting long, so we're just gonna go through some of these last mistakes quickly, and then we'll recap next week, and we will talk about how do you do your own research to not make these mistakes. So the next mistake that I wanted to talk about was trying to buy the dip when the price is crashing. This is called catching a falling knife. And while it's good to set buy levels on the way down, it's better to look for the reversal of the trend before you start buying. And before you buy any dip, you need to make sure you have a clear take profit strategy. That is the most important thing. Okay. And then the next mistake is not taking profits. One of the most likely scenarios that plays out time and time again is in crypto. When you buy a crypto at a low price, we ride it all the way to the top. And then we think that it's going to keep going higher, and we start to see it dip, and we don't want to take profits because it was just higher yesterday. And then we ride it all the way back down. Round tripping your bags is one of the worst mistakes investors make. And the reality is you probably won't know until it's too late or until you've done it at least once. I've done it. I am still holding out and trying to rebalancing on some of the coins that I have. So if you have a crypto that is pumping and you start feeling like nothing can stop it from pumping, or nothing can stop it from, having a straight vertical ascent to the moon, it's probably time that you need to take profit. That is the sign that you need to take profit. But even better is having a take profit strategy before you buy the coin. And that way you can trade in and out, and you can allocate part of your bags for the long term. Okay, and wouldn't you feel better knowing that you've locked in the profits? That like even if the price goes back up, even if it goes higher, you've locked in profits. That would feel a whole lot better than knowing that you wrote it down to zero and you lost out on all of those profits. So, it depends on your own risk tolerance, which is really, affected by how much that you have invested, how much crypto is worth now, how much that crypto that you invested is worth now, and how much that money means to you. Okay, and this brings us to the last mistake, not understanding crypto's long-term price potential. Okay. Let's see, not understanding crypto's long-term price potential. It's easy to believe that the only way that profit consistently is trading the most speculative coins in and out all the time, having a whole bunch of coins. But even if you miss taking profits, holding for the long term can still bring you great gains. If your crypto research uncovers an undervalued coin or token with a strong, really, really strong fundamentals, and they have a clear vision of where the company is going, even if you've been missing out on short-term profits, the long-term profitability becomes less significant if you're investing in the right coins. And so to avoid like any of the mistakes that we've just gone over for the long term, a long term perspective can help you. It can help you cut through the noise. It can help you stay focused on your portfolio. It can help you find yourself. It can help you when you find yourself at the bottom after round tripping your bags. And it can help you be patient and rebalance as you're on your way back up and make sure you lock in those profits the next time. So next week, we are going to talk about, what doing your own research really means. How do you research coins? How do you make sure that you're buying with conviction, and how do you make sure that you are getting in at the right time, into the right place, and that it's going to make you money? Okay, so last time we're going to go back to the chat, and then we're going to sign off because I've been talking here for a while and I'm starting to lose my voice again. Okay. Let's see. What do you think of MSTR and coin? Will it go up from 380? Currently, they are at 160 and 220 respectively. That may be a question for Sensei. If you're a member, I know that he will do free reviews. I don't own either of those, so I am not tracking either of them. So I don't think that I have a great answer for you. Okay, and then Diesel Raider, do you think the February 18th Mar-a-Lago meeting will skyrocket crypto? World Liberty Financial people, you're welcome. I mean, it very well could. I think that I think that good things are coming for crypto in 2026 personally, just from everything that I've been watching. I know there's a lot of volatility right now, again, with the Japan carry trade unwind tonight, which Sensei will be talking about. Yeah, I think that there's a lot of fear in markets right now, and with the volatility, there's always going to be fear. But I am planning for the long term for this year because I think that there's really good chance that things are going to take off, especially if and when we get clarity with the Clarity Act. Okay, and I want to meet all of the LucasAid members. That's my faithfulness. Oh, you're so sweet, Kevin. Thank you so much. And then thoughts on HBAR. I do have HBAR. I think HBAR is fantastic. I think that HBAR is worth keeping an eye on. I'm holding HBAR for the long term because I don't think that it nearly has hit its potential. I do feel like there is going to be a pullback even lower. So right now I'm just keeping an eye on my buy zones for HBAR, holding on to what I have. I will probably be doing Martyn's tax lot strategy and selling some at a wash as it goes down, and definitely taking profits on the way up. Okay. Okay, and Vocal Fasa, you could always use the take profit limit option to save yourself and your money. It saved me a few times. Absolutely. I do. I know everybody has different opinions on this, especially because, your exchanges know all of those orders. They know where you're buying and selling when you set those limit orders, but I do not want to miss profit. So I have those sell orders set in 20% increments on the way up. Okay. I will say too, one thing, that some exchanges do not let you set really high limits. For example, if you are someone who thinks that XRP is going to jump overnight, you can't set a limit above what is realistic. I got that message last year when I tried to set a limit order, and it says it's too far away from the current price. So that's just an interesting thing to note. And then Diesel Raider, my friend of a friend said, heard a guy at the pub said H bar was okay. Yeah, I think that there's some partnerships happening behind the scenes with HBAR. I I think that it's got great utility, which is something we're going to talk about next week when we talk about doing your own research, how to know what the plans are for a coin, whether it has utility, real world use, or something else. Okay, Casey is about to hit 1,000 live during the show. Wow. That is amazing, Martyn. Thank you for sharing that. That is super exciting. Um, okay. And then, sorry, Martyn, she has more calming voice than you. Her voice is musical. Gosh, that's so sweet. Rua's Family Finance and Terry Rose, 4804. A bit more calming than Vaz's helium voice. Oh, come on. Vaz has a great voice. We love Vaz. Vaz has fantastic information, and I am so glad that he's back after his little break getting his brand new studio together, which is incredible. He has such an incredible, let's see. He has such an incredible studio set up now. Tell me what you guys think about that. I have FOMO definitely for Vaz's studio. I have FOMO for Martyn's studio too. They both have incredible setups. Excuse me, just a second. All right, folks. My cough is starting to get the better of me. I think that it is time for me to say goodbye for today. And remember that you can subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel, and somebody is live every single day, multiple times a day. And now that there's 4 of us, you're gonna have so many options to educate yourself and to become a part of this community or to stay connected with this community. So I would really appreciate it if you are enjoying the content, you want to see more from Martyn, from Vaz, from Sensei, or from myself, if you would subscribe and hit the like button. That way Martyn knows to keep me around. Okay, and then let's see. Again, next week, we're going to be talking about how to do your own research. And this is where I say goodbye. So thank you all. And until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.